Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about American stereotypes because a few of you guys asked me in the comments to talk about what stereotypes do French people have about the United States or Americans. So I'm going to talk about that. Try to not get offended. I'm just going to talk about generally what my experience with those stereotypes are. Of course, the US is giant and it's really different from one state to another. So even if something could be a little bit true, it might be true about a few states, but not all states. Stuff like that. But I'm still going to try to comment a little bit on my own experience with those stereotypes. To go somewhere new. So the first stereotype is that Americans are loud. I think it's true, but I think it's cool. I think it's true because in general, really in general, I would say that most people in the US, like you could see them talk a lot and laugh out loud in restaurants, in bars, and outside, I mean anywhere basically. In France, you will see that a little bit less. People are usually a little more quiet. They won't talk as loud, I guess, just in general. But at the same time, I'm a really pretty loud person myself, so I enjoy it. I don't even see sometimes that I'm being loud. So I guess I'm a little more American in that way. I mean, all the time my friends, when I'm at school, you know, I'm in another building or I'm outside and they're in the classroom and they're like, Manon, like we could hear you across the hall, like we can hear you laugh, we can hear you scream, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just like being myself. Like I don't feel like I'm loud, but everyone tell me I'm really loud. So yeah, for that thing, I think it might be true, but I'm the same. So number two is that Americans eat really unhealthy. And I think part of it is true, not everybody eats unhealthy. It depends also state to state, or if you go more in the city or the suburbs. But in general, in the US, you have a lot more fast food, you have a lot of more processed food than, for example, in France. So even like, you know, you go to grocery stores, you will find a lot more sugary, sweet, greasy food that you will find in a French store. It's just generally speaking, and you have a bunch of more choices for so many different things. When that one thing that's is so funny to me, for example, is like different things like, I don't know, like Oreos. We will have like 3 flavors in the France, and you guys will have like 30 flavors. But you know, everything doesn't come to France. So in general, you guys have more bad unhealthy food than we do. So of course, because it's more convenient and because it's more here and you see it and you walk by them all the time, you will eat more. So people are a little more overweight in the US than France because we don't have that as much. Now that it's coming in, we are getting more and more fast foods. We are getting a lot more choices also at stores that we didn't have before. We also have more people getting overweight and stuff like that. So I think it's just related to the fact that you have a lot more convenience in like, for example, fast food. Probably because you guys have more working hours, maybe less time to eat, so it's just more convenient. So it just happen to be like that. But so it causes also a bunch of problems, and yeah, people do eat less healthy and gain more weight and have more maybe health problems related to that. I myself, I ate kind of normally, I guess, when I was in France. When I went in the US, I got pretty lucky because I got into working out and I was paying a lot of attention to what I was eating. But the last year of the US, because I spent 5 years in the US, the last year I was really stressed out with school. I was getting my degree in criminal justice, and I don't know, like it wasn't going that well, I guess, in my mind, in my life, I guess. And I ate really bad because it was also so convenient. Like I was stressed out, I didn't want to cook, or I didn't want to wait for food to be made, so I was like, okay, let's go to Taco Bell, let's go to McDonald's. Or you know, I was studying, and when you study sometimes for hours in the library, you just want to have a little snack, so you just go grab some brownies, some popcorn, some cookies, I don't know, whatever. So I think it's just the convenience of it is what makes it bad. It's so convenient, it's so easy, so of course you're going to grab something already made that tastes so freaking good. So yeah, so I understand why people are more overweight, because I gained a lot of weight last year, and I lost it back in France because it's so different. Like we don't have that much fast food. It's not in the culture as much for now, but it's coming in. But it's really rare that I go to fast food for myself. So I don't know. Yeah, so I will say I talked way too much about this question, but I would say yeah, in general, it's true. Number 3, I'm talking about a good one now because I don't want to talk about just bad stereotypes. One good stereotype we have about the United States is that people are super welcoming and outgoing. And that's completely true. Like, I had such a great time in the United States because everyone was so welcoming with me. Every time they will hear my accent, they will come to me and ask me question, oh, where are you from? I like your accent, tell me more about France and stuff like that. So it was really nice because, when you come from another country and you're new and everybody else is American, you just kind of feel apart. And the fact that everyone was always trying to ask me questions and make me feel like at home, I guess, it felt really good. Also outgoing because people would ask me like randomly, like we don't do that much in France, but like people who don't know me would be like, oh, do you want to come over for dinner so you can meet that person and that person. We don't really do that in France. I don't know, we don't really invite that many like strangers to go to dinner, for example, but in the US, at least in PA, it was more common, like people would invite me over for dinner, little families or people my age. So it was really, really nice, really fun. So I'll say that's a good stereotype, and that's true. Number 4 is that Americans are dumb. So I think that's false. Of course, being dumb means like your lack of intelligence, and I think that's false in general in the United States. Like, people are not dumber or like less intelligent than French people. Of course, there are more and less people that are intelligent, like we have more and less people intelligent in France. I think that stereotype comes more for the fact that I think Americans have a little bit less of a cultural awareness of other countries, and that's kind of lack of cultural awareness make other people think they're dumb. So, for example, for me, so many Americans ask me really, really weird questions about France that to me were obvious, like, for example, like that we have the Eiffel Tower in Paris, or that we speak French in France, like stuff like that. To me, like, people asking me this kind of question, I felt like it was so strange, because I think it's so things that you should know, like, in general. I think it's like, I don't know, it's like questions that you should not ask, I guess, I don't know. But I think it's not being dumb, it's just that maybe because you are in the US and it's so different than living in Europe, because in Europe we're in a bunch of small countries, we travel a lot, it's so tiny, we could drive an hour and be in another country, but the US is so apart from that, and the US in itself is like bigger than Europe, and you have so many different states with different cultures, so like people travel from one state to another and can have a completely different culture and can have really a travel experience, but we do that country to country. So that kind of stuff is so different. You don't grow up doing the same thing. So in the US, for example, like when I went to high school in the US, I felt like a lot of things were more US focused. So a lot of subjects we will talk about, the history, religion, business, will be a lot US focused. But in France, when we talk about that kind of subject, of course, part of it is more French or France focused, but it talks a lot about other countries, especially European countries, but about any other countries. Like, we are taught from the beginning to always look at other countries, what they are doing, their past, their future, how it works with our own life and stuff like that. But in the US, I feel like it's a little different, and people focus more on the US in itself. So I talk a lot about every questions, but so yeah, my answer is like, no, Americans are not dumber than French people, I don't think, but maybe there are some, and of course it's also very general. I met so many people that knew so much about the words, that knew a lot about France, so it's not everyone, but I will say in general, especially people that don't live in the cities, more in the suburbs, they might not know much about geography or history about other countries. So that makes them look dumber in a sense, because when we ask them question, or when they ask us question, it seems dumb to ask that, I guess, but it's not really intelligence, it's just cultural awareness. To me, that's what I think. Another stereotype will be that Americans are too materialistic. I think that's false. I think we could say like part of it is true in a sense compared to like maybe other countries that are more poor and don't have as much choices and things to buy, but compared to France itself, which is also like a Western country in which you can buy so many things, I would say compared to France, I don't think the US, Americans are more materialistic than French people, for example, or that Europeans in general. I think you can buy a lot more things in the US than in France. I mean, stores are so much bigger, you have a lot more choices, so of course people buy more things in general, but I don't think it makes them more materialistic. So when I talk to people, I don't think they are more attached to like random, like shallow materialistic things that us French do. It's just that you own more because you can own more, because you have more choices, because you have more things you can buy. But I don't think as a person it makes you more materialistic. So yeah, that answer is a little weird. But basically, I don't think it's true. I don't think people as themselves are more materialistic. I just think it can seem like that because you guys own more things sometimes, but it's not because you own more that you are necessarily more materialistic, if that makes any sense. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and didn't get too offended. Like I said, it's really general stereotypes and it can be different from state to state, or even in one state people are not all the same. Of course, it's like nothing can generally, you cannot say something about a general amount of people. Each person is different, but I would say in general, really like talking in big terms, what I thought. Let me know in the comments really what kind of stereotypes you have about friends, because I would love to see your comments and then make a video probably answering them and if I think they are true or not. Also to reverse the, the stereotypes. So yeah, let me know that in the comments and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye!